Okay, so today we're jumping into a story that is just wild. It all starts with a fee so small you could literally find it in your couch cushions, but it somehow explodes into this year-long legal drama. It's a classic tale, really. A homeowner, her HOA, and a communication breakdown that just goes so completely off the rails, it winds up in court.
This was not a mistake. This was done on purpose. I mean, just listen to that. That's what the homeowner Virginia Kostman actually told the judge. You can just feel the frustration there, right? The absolute belief that she was being targeted. So what on earth could make someone say that?
You're not going to believe this, but this entire mess, this whole year-long fight, it was all over $20. 20. It really makes you wonder, how does a $20 fee blow up into a formal legal hearing that costs hundreds of dollars just to file? Well, the answer starts with one simple payment that just vanished.
So to really get what's going on here, we have to rewind all the way to the beginning. And it's really a case of just terrible timing. You've got one management company shutting down right as a new one is taking over, which, as you can imagine, creates the perfect storm for one little payment to get totally lost in the chaos.
All right, let's walk through this timeline because the timing here is absolutely everything. So in December, Miss Kostman gets her bill, she schedules her payment like you do. But then just a few days later, poof, the management company, Platinum, just shuts its doors. The new company sends out a notice in January, but her payment was already queued up, ready to go to the old address. And look at the date. Her bank sends it out on January 31st, right on the due date. So from her point of view, she paid on time. End of story. The first she hears of any problem isn't even from the HOA. It's from her own bank more than a month later, in March.
So the second she finds out there's an issue, Miss Kostman does what any of us would do. She tries to fix it. On April 3rd, she gets on the new company's online portal, she explains the whole situation, her message goes out into the ether, and what she gets back is crickets. Nothing. Absolute silence. And this, right here, is the moment a simple mix-up starts to feel like someone is deliberately ignoring her.
With no one talking to her and these fees starting to pile up, Miss Kostman decided she'd had enough. She took that final step and filed a formal petition. And that's how, on December 30th, 2025, almost a whole year after she sent that first payment, both sides found themselves sitting in front of an administrative law judge ready to argue their case. Okay, so a huge part of the HOA's argument came down to this really technical, kind of nitpicky distinction. They said, look, we waived the $15 late fee, which is, the penalty, but they were digging their heels in on the $20 delinquency fee. And their logic was, this isn't a penalty. This is just us getting our money back for the cost of mailing you notices. For them, it was about recouping an expense. But for Ms. Kostman, it's like, come on, a fee is a fee. And she was convinced she didn't owe them a single penny.
So here you can really see the two sides of the story laid out. Ms. Kostman's argument was super straightforward. Hey, I paid on time, I sent it to the address you guys gave me, your internal chaos is not my problem. And she raised the stakes too by pointing out that having a delinquency on her record could actually stop her from voting in HOA elections. The HOA's response was just as simple. Well, we didn't get the money. They tried to paint themselves as the good guys, saying they waited months to charge anything and waived the bigger fee. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures why she was willing to fight so hard. You can tell it was never really about the $20. It was about the principle. She felt like she was being squeezed by this faceless system that messed up and was now trying to make her pay for their mistake. So after hearing both sides of the story, it was all up to the judge. There was no last-minute deal, no agreement. The fate of that $20 fee, and let's not forget the $500 in filing costs, was all going to come down to one formal ruling.
And just 10 days after the hearing, there it was. The decision was in. After a full year of this frustrating back and forth, there was finally a legal answer. And wow, the judge's findings were just a complete and total victory for Ms. Kostman. It was so clear. The judge found that her payment was timely. The reason it wasn't received was because of the HOA's own mess with the management change, an error that was 100% not her fault. The judge basically said, hey, HOA, it's your job to manage your business, and that Ms. Kostman did everything right by trying to communicate. So the final order was a total clean sweep. Step 1, get rid of that $20 fee. Step 2, pay her back the $500 it cost her to file the case. And then step 3, which is my favorite, a direct order for the HOA to actually follow its own rules from now on.
In the end, the HOA's big fight to collect $20 ended up costing them more than 25 times that amount.
But just when you think the story's over and justice is served, there's one final twist. Because as it turns out, winning in court is one thing. Actually getting the other side to do what the judge ordered, that's a whole other story.
I mean, can you even believe this? Nearly a month after the judge's ruling, Ms. Kostman had to email the court again. The HOA, which was now legally ordered to pay her, was using its favorite old tactic: complete and utter silence. She was now asking the court how to file a writ of execution, which is basically the legal way to force someone to pay up.
And that's where the official record just ends. It leaves us hanging with this really powerful question. This whole case is such a stark reminder that even when you win, even when you have a court order in your hand, the fight isn't always over. It really shows you that for one person going up against a bigger organization, sometimes winning in court is only half the battle.